Hi, I'm Paul, and in this video I'm going to show you how to replace a fabric carrier on a Luminette with the integrated bulkhead assembly. So let's go ahead and begin our repair. I want to take a look at my Luminette shade with the integrated bulkhead, and I need to identify the particular carrier that has been damaged. And the first thing I want to do is come over to the passive end, and I'll start by removing the passive end cap cover, and I can simply pry that off. And holding the passive end cap on are two number 1 Robertson screws that I can go ahead and remove. I need to remove the scissor from the lead carrier, and I want to do the same on the stationary carrier by prying that up. So in this case, with a right hand control, I'm going to remove the bead on the right side cord. So I want to come around to the back side, and I'll pinch on that bead and it will open up. You can see that in this case, during the production of this shade, they put a small black mark right below that bead. If there isn't a mark there, it's a good idea to put one there because that's going to help me to relocate the bead when I reassemble this shade. Now I can go ahead and just pull that cord out, and we'll just set it aside here for a moment. So now that I have a little bit of slack in the cord, I can now remove the passive end cap, and I can remove the lead carrier. If you need a little bit of extra room to slide the passive end cap further away to give yourself a little more space, simply pull the cord a little bit on the control end, and that will free up a little more space on my passive end to move the end cap away. Now I'm going to carefully slide the remaining carriers towards the end of the track. And what I want to do here is make sure that the tilt rod stays in place. I don't want the tilt rod sliding with the carrier, so I might just hang on to that a little bit. And I'm going to begin to slide each carrier off the end. So I can slide that first one off. So here's my damaged carrier. I can simply come underneath the scissor. I will carefully pry that off. So let's just take a quick look to make sure we get the spacing right. We can see here my lead carrier, the post of the lead carrier, and then I count 1 empty space. Here's where my replacement carrier is going to go. 1 empty space, and here's the next carrier. So you can see that alternating space between the scissors. So that makes it pretty easy. I'm going to make sure that I seat that new carrier. I'll get that post right where it needs to go. All right, so now I've replaced my carrier. We're ready to reassemble the Luminette track. What I want to begin to do now is slide each carrier back onto the track and onto the tilt rod. So if we allow the track to rest on its back edge, here's the front right here, I'm going to start to line the carrier into the track. And I'll turn it upside down a little bit so we can see it. I want that cord that's feeding out the bottom, make sure it's not getting pinched anywhere. The carrier is going into that channels. But look, see I haven't accounted for the carrier here. The carrier is out of alignment compared to the other two. So let's back it out just a little bit and let's slide that in. So I've completed inserting my replacement carrier and my alignment is looking good. So I'm going to continue on down the line and bring in the next carrier. And as I begin to slide that in, I'm keeping an eye on the pinion clip. That looks like it's in pretty good alignment, and I'll continue to push that one in. So now I'm ready to bring my lead carrier back onto the track. One of my final steps is to pull that traverse cord back through this hole right here. The best way to do that is with a lacing needle. I'm going to put my lacing needle through here and just push it all the way through. So I'm going to bring my lead carrier onto the track. I want to get that lined up into those channels, and I want to look at the orientation of the pinion clip compared to the other and continue to slide that right on. And my orientation looks good. on all the carriers that I had removed from the track. So now that I have the lead carrier back on, my next step is to bring back in the cord that I removed. Here's my mark right there where I had the bead. You can see that it's feeding out the back side of the integrated bulkhead. So I want to make sure that I stay to the back, and I'm going to take my bundle of carriers and go right inside the track to the back side of the tilt rod and below the carriers. And I'm going to feed that all the way through, and I can see it coming out right there. Now with the position of my lacing tool, I want to also move this over to the back side. Before I go any further, I'm going to return the passive end cap. And I'll return my 2 number 1 Robertson screws. And I'm attaching the end cap cover, making sure that that tab side is to the top. So now I'm ready to return the cord back through the lead carrier. I've already brought my stringer needle in there. I'm going to feed my cord through. I don't have a lot of extra cord to work with here, so I want the end of the lacing tool to be just above my black mark. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a pull and pull all my cord through. Now I'm ready to bring in my bead, and I'll go ahead and grab this with a pair of needle nose pliers on the back side. And I'm going to pull up on the cord a bit. These cords, both of these traverse cords, are set at a rate of 6 to 8 pounds of tension by the factory when the shades are built. So that's where these marks came from. So I want to replace the bead right where I found it, right above that mark, and then go ahead and pinch that into place. So now what I'll want to do is reattach the scissor back to the lead carrier, pushing it right down on that post real easily. Now I will bring in the scissor and attach it to the post there as well. All right, so we've just completed our repair of my Luminette track. My last step is going to be to just check the operation of the shade, making sure that it will both traverse fully and that the carriers rotate fully in both directions. And we've just completed replacing a carrier on a Luminette with the integrated bulkhead.